From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Ants Meats and Grocery is much more than a grocery store. We carry a full line of quality meats, local and organic vegetables, and a large variety of fish, Green Mountain Smart Control pellet grills, and a full deli case of sandwiches and side dishes.
Well, happy 4th of July to you all. Hope you have a happy and safe day. It's going to be hot out there. This heat wave we've been talking about, it's really, we're in the thick of it, folks, and it's going to continue into the weekend and well, if not all through next week. Expected record-breaking heat, warm overnight lows, and that fire danger is expected to decrease, but it's still going to be rather high. And the reason it's decreasing is because the winds are dying down, but it's still going to be very hot. It's going to be very dry. Looking at your neighborhood forecast, temperatures, yeah, I mean, they're just continuing to climb. We're over 100 degrees for most areas, including the mountains. And of course, the North Coast, obviously, that's a different story. Temperatures there in the low 70s, which is warm for them. Now, this is kind of fun. Relax, Lexi, right? Before we get to, the heat and the fire coverage, let's, again, just enjoy something fun and nice. I want to thank Jackie Bell for sending in this picture. I think she sent it last week, actually, but I'm just kind of sharing these pictures one at a time as you send them in. So she said that Lexi was just looking for that perfect amount of baked potato right there in the sun here. If you want to share your photos, go to the free Weather NorCal app. Just search for Weather NorCal in your app store. Download the app for free. Scroll to the bottom once you open up the app and you can share your photos from there. It'll give you all the directions that you need. I want you to share your photos. I want to share photos like that every morning right here and of course on Coffee with Kruger as well. All right, let's get into the fires now. This is looking at the Thompson fire. These are the latest heat signatures coming in late last night and early this morning. You can see it looks like most of it is on the north side of the fire. You can also see, this is the good part, the fact that we're not seeing any red means there's no recent heat signatures coming in, which tells us there hasn't been a lot of activity. What this is telling us is this is about 1 to even 2 days old. 2 days old, 1 day old, okay? So that just gives you an idea that we haven't really seen a lot of activity coming out of this. Meanwhile, we take you out to the Shelley fire, same situation. Most of the activity was yesterday when the fire started. The good news is we look at it this morning and we're not seeing a lot of activity out there as well. All right, oops, I wanted to take you to the perimeter fire here. Let's, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm not gonna stop the recording for this. I'm just gonna go ahead and there we go. Here we go. Give me 1 second, folks. 1 second. And let's see what we got here. That's good. All right, we're going to save that. Go here. You're looking at all this. This is me editing stuff, folks. This is fun. All right, so let's get you to the Thompson fire. This is the fire perimeter. Unfortunately, as I'm recording this, the latest hasn't come in overnight into the early morning hours, but quite honestly, since we haven't seen a lot of activity, if we saw any growth, it's going to be on the north side of it. That's what my anticipation would be. They're really, of course, keeping a very close eye on the south end. We got homes here. We got, of course, Kelly Ridge. We want to make sure that that's all protected. I'd be willing to guess that we haven't seen much, if any, growth on the south side. It's mainly going to be the north side here and maybe off to the north and west here and maybe a little bit of growth westward. But overall, I would expect that a lot where the homes are, we should be in pretty good shape there. All right, now we take you out to the Shelley fire. There's a look at the latest perimeter. It's out, kind of in a desolate area here, but it's about 8 miles. You have to go over the mountain range, right? But it's 8 miles from about Etna. So just kind of give you an idea, its distance to Scott Valley. Now, the smoke is going to be a concern with both Shelley fire and the Thompson fire, and it's going to have an impact on some of us, others not so much. But you can see Mount Shasta today. I think you'll see some smoke later this afternoon. Most of the Thompson fire will be to the south and east of Chico. And then as we go into tomorrow, there we're seeing, of course, some of that smoke mainly off to the west. By the way, tonight, right before the fireworks, you may see some of that smoke in Mount Shasta. But tomorrow morning, Weaverville, Hoopa, just west of Etna, you'll be dealing with some smoke out there and maybe in the form of some of that haze. And look at this, Friday afternoon, maybe a bit of haze coming in from the Shelley fire. Etna, I think we'll be dealing with some smoky conditions tomorrow afternoon, but looks like not a lot of activity coming out of the Thompson fire. By the way, keep in mind this smoke forecast does depend each hour as far as just how active that fire is. But it just kind of gives you an idea. We are being impacted by the smoke from both fires. But the winds, they're not as much of a concern. Over the last few days, the winds have been gusting between 20 and 30 miles per hour. Still a little breezy for my comfort, and I think for the firefighters' comfort, but at least we're not in that 20 to 30 mile an hour range. We're at 10 to 15 miles per hour as we take you into the next few days. Today, and that'll be the case going into tomorrow as well. Humidity levels also too low for my comfort. This morning, still not much recovery here, especially for the valley. As we go through the afternoon, we've got those relative humidities down to the single digits. No big surprises there. Then as we go into Friday morning, we're getting actually a little bit better recovery, 20 to close to 30%. So that is good to see, but not so great to see is that we will see, of course, those lower humidity levels again for Friday afternoon. Now, I showed you this map yesterday for Thursday. It was showing moderate across the board. You may recall over the last few days, this orange here was from a W because of the wind, and I was saying this should also include hot and dry. What's happened is the winds are dying down, but now it's the hot and dry conditions we got to be concerned about. See the H right there? That's what that's indicating. That'll be the case again on Friday. Then on Saturday, this is showing that it's going to be moderate, but it's still going to be hot and dry. In fact, it'll be hotter on Saturday. So I'll be willing to guess that as we go into tomorrow, we'll probably see that extend on into Saturday as well with some of those places that saw the orange. Okay? So here's a look at your fire weather risk. Not a big deal this morning, but by this afternoon, yes, hot and dry. We're in that high to very high range, kind of in that category for the valley. But look at the mountains. Yeah, we're seeing more and more of the yellows and oranges kind of sprinkled in there as well. This is going to be the case here as we get into the summer, folks. And then you can see it gets into that extreme category because of the heat. And again, remember I was saying the winds aren't going to be as strong, but they'll still be a little breezy at times. And that's going to create some problems. And once again, moderate to high fire danger for the higher elevations. Let's take a look at those heat alerts. Of course, you know, we've been talking about this. I could tell you about the time frame, the temperatures, but we're going to get into the temperatures and we're getting into the time frame of the heat wave. But what this is basically saying is the National Weather Service, for the most part, has these advisories and warnings through next Tuesday. And then, of course, this heat wave is affecting everyone on the West Coast. Seattle all the way down to San Diego, eastward into Las Vegas, Phoenix, Boise, Idaho, feeling the impacts of all of this. So the only place you can really get relief is along the coast, but even parts of the coast are part of this as well. All right, especially to our south. But you can see here, big ridge of high pressure. That's the reason why we've got this heat wave in place. Now, the positioning of this high pressure has been a little bit more to the west the last few days. That kept the jet stream right on top of us, giving us the gusty winds. So the good part of it moving closer to us is the winds are dying down. The bad part of it is as it moves closer to us, our temperatures increase. That dome of heat is right on top of us. This right here is where the hottest temperatures are. As you start getting farther and farther away from that ridge of high pressure, the temperatures start to drop. Not by a lot, because it's still going to be very hot. But the peak of the heat wave, I think, for us is going to be Friday, Saturday, and then as we go into Sunday, that high pressure now centers itself over Southern California. That's good because our temperatures will drop, but it's not great because temperatures are only going to drop by a few degrees. It's still going to be very hot, and this heat wave will last through all of next week. You see that ridge of high pressure? It's staying there. It's building and getting stronger actually through next week, and we're on the outer perimeter of that dome of high pressure, but still highs easily 105 to 110 through the end of next week. So you get the idea. This heat, it's going to stick around for a while. Take a look at the consecutive number of days of 100-plus degree days. 26 days is the record set back in 1978. 23 days in 1969, 71, and 2005. We'll watch that, but the one I'm watching more closely now is 110-plus degree days. Since records have been taken since 1893 in Reading, the highest consecutive number of days of 110 or higher was 1978, 1988, and then earlier on, 5 days, was in 1920. Could we meet that? I think so, and there is even a chance we could break it. We saw 110 yesterday, that's number one. Number two is today. Number three, number four, number five, number six. This is high confidence that will be 110 degrees or higher. This would match the number of consecutive days of 110 plus. As we get into 111, now you can see how the temperatures are dropping into next week. We may drop below 110. But as we go into Tuesday in particular, we could reach day 7, which would mean it would be a record of the number of consecutive days of 110 plus degree days. I've always said if we're going to break a record, why not? If it's going to be this hot, let's break a record. All right, all-time record high was set 3 times at the Reading Airport, or in Reading. 118 degrees in 1971, 1981, and 1988. We could possibly reach 118 degrees as we go into Saturday. That would break the record. That would break not only that would break the record for that day, but also it would meet the record of the all-time high. But I think we are not going to break a record as we go into today. But of course, we'll break a record tomorrow. We'll break a record on Saturday. Let's take a look at the Mount Shasta records. Could break a record for the next 3 days: today, tomorrow, and Saturday. How about Susanville? You'll be close today. I think you'll break a record tomorrow, and then of course you'll break a record on Saturday as well. And for Eureka, not today, but looks like we could break the record on Friday and maybe even Saturday. The record on Saturday was 73, set in 1954. Forecast high is 74. So there you go. All right. All right, let's take a look at the wave heights. They are beginning to drop out there, and looks like we're just going to continue to see that trend dropping here as we go into your Friday. There's a look at your Thursday forecast. Southwest winds at about 5 to 10 knots. Here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. Woo, it is getting hot out there, folks. 105 for Burnt Ranch, 107 out in Lewiston. Highs of 100 degrees or higher for Weaverville for the next 7 days. For the coast, 70s through Sunday, 60s by Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Let's take you up to the north, 90 out in Smith River. I mean, even some of these semi-coastal communities, Smith River, 90, 103 in Gasquet, 108 in Hoopa, Willow Creek about 110 degrees, Siskiyou County over 100 degrees in many spots, but those higher elevations more like the mid-90s, give or take there. A bit on the hazy side. I think the smoke may be having an impact on you today and tomorrow, actually, for Mount Shasta City. There you can see your Modoc County neighborhood forecast. Temperatures not quite 100 degrees yet, but that may change by tomorrow or Saturday. Your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast. 102 for Greenville, 100 for Shingletown, 92 Viola, Paradise a high of 102. There's Susanville. Again, you could get up to 100 today, which would meet or break your record. And then I do expect those temperatures to stay above 100 degrees as we go through the rest of the weekend into next week. There's a look at your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by NorCal Tractor. I'm just getting hot looking at these temperatures, right? We take you up north, 112 for Reading, 108 for Lakehead, 110 in Red Bluff, Palisadro a high of 112 degrees. Here's your 7-day outlook for Reading. 4th of July, 112 today, 117 tomorrow. Could meet, 119, not out of the question. On Saturday, we'll see. 114 degrees on Sunday, and then temperatures still above 110 degrees here for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Have a safe and happy 4th of July.
We're the locals down the street. The neighbor you come to for advice. A nest egg for the golden years. A loan or a new account for that growing business. What started in Chico 50 years ago has taken us all around California, providing big bank lending power and high-tech service while keeping our relationships personal. We're still the locals down the street, no matter where your street might be. Tri-Counties Bank, California's local bank.